Hello. Recently, a few days ago, a small group of us from the local pagan community went up to the River Gipping, which runs through Suffolk and down through Ipswich, where I live, and out to the sea. The Gipping eventually turns into the Orwell, but it's the same body of water, it's just the name that changes, rather than being a completely separate river. But we'd held a ritual earlier in this year, which we do every May, to honour the spirit of the town. And one of the things that came through in that ritual was a sense that the river itself would like some kind of recognition, some kind of offering. So that's why this ritual was organised. So we went off down to the river and had a walk through the woods and down the river bank. We had originally intended, well, I say we, because I was organising it, had originally intended to sit under a very large willow tree that overlooks a broad area of the river, but there was somebody sitting there having a cigarette and he didn't seem very inclined to move anytime soon, so we went a tiny little way further down and sat on a small wooden bridge, very low bridge because it's quite a low area of the river, and paddled our feet and held the ritual there, and it was really quite lovely just watching the birds fly past and the various creatures, including a water rat, which was a very wind in the willows type moment as it dived into the water and swam underneath our feet and under the bridge itself, and we made offerings to the river and read some poetry, which is what I'm going to read to you now. Some of the poems were written by people who were either physically present, so there's one that I read, or who had been members of this pagan community in the past. So one of them was written by Sable, who now lives in America, but had years and years and years ago lived in Ipswich and was familiar with the river. And others weren't written by members, but they were suggested by members, sort of sent in as being good river-related poems that could be read. So I've got 4 of them that I would like to read for you because I think they're nice poems. We're going to start with one that was sent in by a member, by Sue. It's a poem by a lady called Miriam Darlington. I'm not familiar with her as a poet, but the poem itself is lovely. It's called The Invention of the Otter. And then I'll read you the poem that Sable wrote, and then share a poem by Robert Louis Stevenson, one by Rupert Brooke, and finish with the one that I wrote, which is enough to finish anybody. So, The Invention of the Otter. No one can say how it came out of the water, or how it plucked pebbles from the river's pockets and made thoughts. No one can say how the night made nostrils and whiskered its way from the roots of an oak. No one can say how its rudder thickened with the wind made fur ripple into a stream, or how the storm muscled a heart out of the moon. Who can say when the eel learnt fear, or the trout first felt speed shiver through its sides? Only when it swims, all the water leans towards it, frays air into swilling of pearls, and streams love themselves more deeply. All I can say is, at that moment, poetry nosed its way into the world and took its place among the 4 elements, and made them 5. And now, when night silks the water, the weave of it says, hush, keep it secret. That's a rather lovely one about the otter. This is the poem, a bit of a shorter one now, that Sable, who lives in America, wrote. The spirit of my house once knew your waters, not half a mile between her home and thee. The rain that wet her roof and soaked her garden ran also in your flow towards the sea. It's more than 20 years, but she remembers, and yet she mourns the lack of care you're shown, and curses those who use you as a midden, and blesses those whose gratitude is known. Arise, dear sister spirit, and remember that you are loved by those who gather here. Be well, be whole, be all that you envision. Be light, be free, be generous, be clear. It's a nice little one. And capitalised. The next two poems are by, if you like, recognised poets rather than by members. This first one is by Robert Louis Stevenson, The Looking Glass River. Smooth it glides upon its travel, here a wimple, there a gleam. Oh, the clean gravel, oh, the smooth stream. Sailing blossoms, silver fishes, pave pools as clear as air. How a child wishes to live down there. We can see our coloured faces floating on the shaken pool, down in cool places, dim and very cool, till a wind of water wrinkle, dipping marten, plumping trout, spreads in a twinkle and blots all out. See the rings pursue each other, all below grows black as night, just as if mother had blown out the light. Patience, children, just a minute, see the spreading circles die, the stream and all in it will clear by and by. That's a nice one. Neither that nor this next one by Rupert Brooke were written about the Gipping. They were written about other rivers, but I think you agree that they both capture the spirit of rivers the world over. So this is Heaven by Rupert Brooke, much more famous for his war poetry, of course. Fish fly repeat in depth of June, dawdling away their watery noon, ponder deep wisdom, dark or clear, each secret fishy hope or fear. Fish say they have their stream and pond, but is there anything beyond? This life cannot be all, they swear, for how unpleasant if it were. One may not doubt that somehow good shall come of water and of mud, and sure the reverent eye must see a purpose in liquidity. We darkly know, by faith we cry, the future is not wholly dry. Mud unto mud, death eddies near. Not here the appointed end, not here, but somewhere beyond space and time is wetter water, slimier slime. And there, they trust, there swimmeth one, who swam ere rivers were begun, immense of fishy form and mind, squamous, omnipotent and kind, and under that almighty fin the littlest fish may enter in. Oh, never fly conceals a hook, fish say, in the eternal brook, but more than mundane weeds are there, and mud celestially fair. Fat caterpillars drift around, and paradisal grubs are found, unfading moths, immortal flies, and the worm that never dies. And in that heaven of all their wish, there shall be no more land, say fish. I like that one. And now to finish, this is the one that I wrote specifically for the river. Memory osmotic down riverbed winds, the water recalls all that it touches, its banks tree swathe, their root ways water binds, life flitting past while history clutches, from water to wood solidity finds. Druid cast stones on riverbed still lay, Roman coins cast to the nymph glitter still, angle pots hold fast, forged from Ipswich clay, their precious hoards to the river flow spill. The tide sweeps them all, a frolicsome play, the moorhens watch as people come and go, farms to factories, temples to churches, the Gipping sees all of the human show, and whispers its dreams to willows and birches, whose season marks time's endless ebb and flow.